Laughing Monkey Music Show. Today we have John Corabi. John's been on in many bands I love, but continually just a favorite of one of my vocalists and singers. We've already been jibber jabbering. But John, welcome to the show. I'm glad we
Thank
can
you,
come on.
buddy. Thanks for
Thank you.
having me.
I'm glad you come back. We were talking, so just to catch people up, we're talking about like influences in songs and what people think about they'd expect from you as a singer or songwriter and stuff. And you were sharing just like, some home recording, learning and that. But when you had written one of your single you had written during COVID,
Yeah, Casibella.
which is a
And
pretty song.
it's funny. But it still has some balls to it. You know what I mean? It's got like cool little guitar solo, but it's very Brit pop uh rock song. But it was funny. A lot of people, I guess, expected me to release something heavier based on some of the things that I'd done in the past. Obviously the Mötley record was very heavy. Uh, you know, but if you really go back and listen to a lot of the different things that I've done, I think that there are different influences, you know, uh, in a lot of my stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally. I think Union is when you did Union. Union is like has a lot of different stuff in that album. A lot of different feeling in it of different
Yes.
artists at the time, and that was really and that's what I'm saying. Like I don't know why they were surprised because to me it made sense actually you being especially being solo because usually when it's you doing other bands you just heavier guitar, but you're very much a melodic guy. Anybody that's followed you forever is well aware of your love of the Beatles.
Well, you know what's funny? The when I was doing the video for Casabella, I had a friend there. This buddy of mine. I met him through the years of being in music. He was kind of a fan, and then we became friends. But we were here in Nashville, and this guy Kirk Akers, and he heard the song while we were doing the video, and he goes, "Man, this is not what I would have expected from John." And it's funny though, my guitar player and my bass player, they turned to him and they said, "This is exactly what I expect from John." Like it's not, which is also the reason why, like,
Robin's song is what I expect from you. That is who.
yeah, you know what I mean. And if you listen to even all throughout my career, I've done well. First of all, every song that I've ever written, regardless, I've written everything that I've ever recorded on an acoustic guitar.
Mhm.
So I had songs like Father, Mother, Son, Robin song, October Morning Wind,
Yep.
uh, even songs like on the second Union record, there was a song called I Wanna Be, which has got a very Beatlesque
Yeah.
type type vibe to it. But I wrote that on an acoustic guitar and then we translated it and made it heavier, if you will. Um, but it was like again, I was saying earlier, like my musical tastes are so eclectic. So I get I don't want to say bored, but I don't want to be pigeonholed as the heavy guy that was in Motley for 5 minutes. Do you know what I mean? Or, some of the other bands that I was in, whether it was Union or Brides of Destruction or whatever. So it's like I try to go forward and change things up and grow. And it's funny because a lot of the fans, they want you to grow. If you do the same thing over and over again, it's like, oh my God, again, seriously. But then if you change,
That's what I
they're
was going.
like,
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
they,
Yeah. They're
so you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. But, um, so I'm looking forward to the future, man. Every record that I do, even with the Daisies, we have no idea how it's going to turn out. We just get in, we write a bunch of stuff. Each guy writes the way he writes, and then we put it in the pot and hope that the band can make it their own. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
In some capacity. And each member, like of the Daisies, it's awesome. Doug's a really a killer, aggressive guitar player. like Michael Devins, just he's all over the map too. Like he likes so much different shit, but he's just like a really solid, thumpy bass player. David Lowey's got a very kind of almost, you know, for lack of a better term, it's almost a really primitive punk kind of vibe to the way he plays.
Hmm.
And somehow we just make it work, you know. But I just love music, man. I hate repeating myself. I know sometimes it's going to happen, but I'm just always trying to like, okay, how can I make myself better? What can I do now that I didn't do in the past? And you know, but that was also one of the reasons why, like, I got a lot of shit. And when I did my first solo record was the acoustic record, and I
Right.
just felt like, how can I? Not that I have zero regrets about anything I did in the past, but how can I set myself up to just do what I want to do? And to me, the best way to erase everything that I did in the past was to just do something so drastically different. So I did an acoustic record with zero drums on it. It's all percussion. There's bass, solos, but there's like very unbelievable harmonies on it. Thanks to my buddy Daniel Carcos. He's a fucking whiz with harmonies.
Hmm.
So he said, "Well, what are you hearing on this stuff?" I go, "Just all of the songs, think like the Eagles. Let's just really layer some awesome vocals on this thing." And you know, mission accomplished. But a lot of people were like, "Man, this is not what I would have thought like he would have done for fucking soul." There's not one heavy song on that record.
No,
You know what I mean?
not at all.
And
No.
I just wanted to kind of say, okay, here's this. Now nobody knows what to expect from me in the future.
Did it work?
It, I don't know, because now I
I mean,
still
because
do
you did a
like,
lot of songs that you've done in the past, and to me, and I look at things differently, obviously, than but you went and did that with the probably to me as a singer songwriter would have already heard originally before you went to the bands to begin with a lot of the songs. It's kind of like the original versions of them. What the album is to me, you know what I mean? The ideas
yeah,
of a because that's what a good song is. It's just the raw basics, and then you put the cake, you know, batter on top
yeah,
of it, you know, and I think you as an artist, you kind of came in like literally 10 minutes late on everything because you got like the pieces of parts of stuff, but you're like known as like one of the better vocalists out there for the genre, and that's why you kept moving from stuff, and your voice is crushing, and you have a great you know reputation as a good person. Otherwise, you wouldn't keep working. And I think people forget that in this industry. Jerks, you know, rock jerks don't really work. I mean,
it
you know,
it is. Listen, the music industry, say what you will about it, as big as it is, it's very small.
oh, it's super small. I never
But
realized how small it was.
I'll tell you this right now. I can credit uh, my thought process. I guess to my dad and my uncle. Um, you know, a bunch of old school Italians back in Philadelphia. But my dad said something to me that was very, and I saw it. I kind of saw the whole what they were talking about.
Right, right.
But my dad told me, he said, "Listen, man, you did it. You got a record deal, but just remember one thing. You know, everybody that you're gonna meet, everybody goes through a lull in their career. I
Hmm.
don't care whether you're Frank Sinatra, whether you're Led Zeppelin, Aerosmith,
Yep.
you know, just remember this. Every fucking person you meet, it's like climbing a ladder, success. Every person you meet on every rung of that ladder is going to remember you on the way back down. So treat everybody with respect. Don't treat everybody the way you would want to be treated, because when you see them again on the way back down,
Yep.
they're going to be the ones that help you get back up the ladder." And I never forgot that. It was
Well,
just so
it's helped
important to
you,
me.
you know. and I'm gonna say I remember seeing him be like, God, man, every time you get a good thing, it felt like it's like, when's this guy gonna get a break? And I read your book. You were on actually for your book, and we talked. But it's like to me, it's always like you're so close on some level, but now taking time to look back, like retrospective, like you've done some covers, you've done this. The Daisies is a great showcase for you. Solo stuff. I'm still gonna hope and always want to push for you to write your own album. Where it's just John Corabi. You know, but looking
Which,
back,
which by the
you're
way,
quite yes,
I just
yes,
signed a record deal. It's coming.
yes. Finally, and here's the thing: looking back, you are such a singer songwriter journeyman that actually looks differently. And it actually kind of looks nice. Like you're like this is like a journey. There's so much stuff out there if you're singing. There's so many cover songs, your voice, and different singers you sing, different aspects of your life you go up and down. It really is a quite looks like a better musical journey than you think you were being close in the beginning of getting close to a couple of rock bands. Like with those guys.
Well,
In
it's
retrospect, it
it's
looks really good. Actually, it looks like you're like this guy's a songwriter, singer-songwriter. Nothing's gonna
it's
stop him.
you know what? At the end of the day, buddy, like I can't do it. Like, listen, I'm like everybody else. You know what I mean? I just sit here sometimes and I scratch my head and I go, like, why is and I don't mean this to sound facetious or what, but I just sit there sometimes and I go, why is my bank account not like Steven Tyler's? Or why am I not getting into my, you know, my Ford GT, or why am I not
Timing. You were 10 minutes late. You were ten
but
minutes
it's
late.
I have literally been, that's why I named my book Horseshoes and Hand Grenades. Thank you once again, Dad. But it was like, I'm just sitting here when he said that comment to me. It was funny. It was when I was doing the acoustic record.
Mhm.
He goes, I said, I'm doing an acoustic record. And he goes, man, I love when you do acoustic stuff. I understand everything you're singing. Your words are so beautiful. And I said, well, he goes, what are you going to call it? And I was joking with him. And I said, I might call it John Corabi's Almost Greatest Hits because I did half of the record with songs that I'd done and I
Right.
reworked them. And then the other half was all new stuff. And he goes, oh, you could call it Horseshoes and Hand Grenades. And I kind of threw me I go, what does that mean? He goes, horseshoes.
Oh,
You've never heard that? He goes, horseshoes
yeah.
and
You
hand
never hear
grenades.
that.
You just got to be close.
Yep.
So when we were doing the book, and obviously Paul and I were going back and forth and re-editing and editing and all this shit. I sat down and I go, man, you know what? I have been 10 minutes late to like everything. And it's so even relationships with women, you know what I mean? It's like I thought it was the one, but it wasn't the one. You know what I mean? Whatever. And so I just said, you know what? Fuck it. I gotta call this book Horseshoes and Hand Grenades because it's true. And I can't explain it for the life of me. Like every record I've ever done, nobody gave a shit about it when it was like right when it was coming out.
Hmm.
Uh, Got great press on the Scream, great press on the Mötley record, the Union stuff. Like, just everything I've ever done has gotten positive reviews, but it just didn't connect for some weird reason. And then, like 10 years later, it's like I sit here and I watch like YouTube videos or a Google thing will pop up and
Yep.
it's like, oh my God, this record, The Scream, hidden gem, cult classic, like they use all these terms. I go, where were you guys like 20 years ago? Whatever. So I've just kind of gotten into the mindset where I go, you know what? I'm going to release a solo record, in the next year or so. And my granddaughters, hopefully 20 years from now, will be set for the rest of their life.
Well, that's something. And once you're dead, you're gonna be the biggest person ever. Once you're dead, because that's what always happens. No, there's a thing. Now, I had this crazy theory. Like, so when the bands were getting big and like Motley was really on the downfall. You kind of caught the tail end of the big end of the deal, they were on the tail end, and then rock was struggling when you were in Union. The monies were flipping around. The audience allegiance was switching because the age group of your original fans were starting to go to college and get early jobs. The cash flow is changing around, I think. and like now it's better the cruises and this and that. We're all back, like our kids are in college, this and that. The same audience that loved that early stuff that didn't follow so much into the 90s all have money for the cruises and this and the M3s. And I almost think if you look at this like a financial blueprint there, I thought enough these interviews, I'm like doing the math. I'm like, wait a minute here. We, carry the one. It makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's an
Well,
economic switch in that
it
too that you got
it's
kind
a
of
lot
sucked
of
up into.
it's a lot of things. Like, again, the music industry was changing. The economic part of it, like you said, is you're
Downloading.
you're right. Downloading was a big thing. I remember on the second Union record, we had way more PR, way more money behind us
Hmm.
for like our first single, "Do Your Own Thing," was kicking ass at radio.
Yep.
And it was one of the funniest things now in hindsight. Back then, we were pulling our hair out,
Right.
but we had, it was like 100 or 150 radio stations were playing "Do Your Own Thing." So the first week our record came out, we did almost 10,000 units in a time when bands like us weren't doing 10,000 units a week.
No.
And the following week, it went from like 10,000 to, I shit you not, it went from like 10,000 to like 63, like that.
I'm
And we're
sorry.
like,
It's just like, and it's so comically like ridiculous.
yeah, it was like it was like Wile E. Coyote falling off the fucking Grand Cat. Yeah, so we're like, what the fuck is going on? So as we go on tour, these fans are bringing us like burnt copies of the CD.
Hmm.
And we're sitting there, we're going, where did you get this? And they're like, oh, we got it from this website, Napster. So Bruce and I got back and we went online, and Napster used to be set up. You could see how many downloads there was.
Yep. I remember that in LimeWire and all those. Yeah.
Yeah, and when it was uploaded onto the site, that and then we kind of pieced together that the record company had sent out advance copies to radio stations. Somebody looked at it, went, whatever, threw it in the trash. Somebody picked it up and put it on Napster. And it was crazy how many, there was like thousands and thousands of downloads of that CD on Napster before our record even came out. So,
Yeah.
it is what it is. It's just luck, man. It's timing. Like, that's the one thing. You can have all the talent in the world, all the money behind you in the world, but there's one thing you cannot buy, and that is having the stars line up and fucking luck. And, my thing is, you know, I could sit here and, 2 years from now, some movie producer that wants to do some romantic comedy, could hear a song like Casabella
Yep.
and put it in their song as like the main song in the movie, and my whole world could turn around like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's the only thing, man. It's like I just sit here and I go,
I think you're
somebody
successful. You know what I
somebody
mean?
hasn't picked up that rock and seen John Corabi under it yet. You know what I mean? Whatever.
First off, it's I think it's insane. Just like what gets popular, what doesn't get popular on the internet. Anyhow, it makes no sense. It's stupid. I created a show called Laughing Monkey Music because I think the title is so crazy. Things I like. If I made it one word, like Mother Love Bone, I did it off the thing of it, the timing. I did like Led Zeppelin, Mother Love Bone, Laughing Monkey Music to be funny. But now that word's everywhere because that's how ridiculous the internet is. So, but as far as time goes, you're like you're touring. You're in Europe. You're a touring musician. You are successful. Like there's only a small percentage of Rihanna's and stuff that do that ridiculous world. And besides you taking a break and being the most successful truck driver singer ever,
Listen,
that
man.
mental break,
You know what? At
you
the
are
end of the day,
successful.
buddy.
Your kid
At,
plays
at,
music with you. My kids don't even play music with me. You are successful.
at the end of the day, like it's hilarious. Even my journey of getting a record deal. I was in Philadelphia. There was two clubs to play. You know, a place called the Galaxy and the Empire Rock Room back in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Hmm.
They were the only two that would allow like you to walk in and do a set of original rock
Is the
whatever.
Galaxy in Pennsylvania too?
But
Is
no,
that a?
Empire Rock Room was in
Oh,
Philadelphia. The Galaxy was in New Jersey.
okay.
But it was weird, drivable, whatever.
Right.
And it was funny. Oh, like I had a buddy that went out to California. He's like, dude, it's crazy out there. There's all these clubs and people walking around with crazy hair. La, 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 la. So I made the choice to move because I didn't really see many options for like classic rock or heavy rock music in, original music in Philadelphia. I fucking leave. And I don't think I was there 6 months. John Bon Jovi walks into a club, sees Cinderella, signs them. Everybody gets signed. And it was like Cinderella, Heaven's Edge, Tangiers, Britney Fox, like all these fucking bands got signed in Philadelphia.
Yep.
And most of those guys I had played with to some degree, in some formation of my band. So I go to LA. It worked out for me, but it was like I arrived late to the party. So I did the Scream. I was way late. I don't think I got my first record deal until I was you know, 20, 28, 29, 30. I mean, when you look at, Robert Plant getting signed when he's 18 with, Led Zeppelin, or Eddie Van Halen getting signed when he's 17 or 18, you know. So I was just sitting there like, God damn it, I'm fucking late. I keep making the wrong turns at the intersection. Um, you know, but when I was 30 touring with the Scream, who thought? I had no fucking idea that I'd still be here 20 records later at 66 talking to you this morning about my career. So I've been very blessed, but I still have my moments where I go, fuck, what does a guy
You
got
know,
to
you know who
do?
you are? Here's the quote for you. You are the Mr. Magoo of rock.
Or Rodney Dangerfield, one
Or
of the
Rodney Dangerfield.
two.
Well, no, Mr. Magoo, because like if anybody remembers back to the old cartoon, he's like walking along some construction site and the thing goes down and he's not doesn't see whatever, and he falls, and then another girder comes up and he lands on it, and he just keeps on going. And
Yeah.
that's what you did in your career. You go off one, oh, this is awful. Boom, he's back on another one, and you just keep on going. You know,
And that's all you can do, man.
which
It's
is
like,
probably more than 85% of those people that you were
and
in with.
that's what I have to remind myself when I do start getting, and we all do it, we all have one of those dark moments where you're like, fuck, you start looking at other people and you go, like, man, I want to be able to buy that, or I want to be able to do that. I want to, like, why is my bank account not like that guy's? You know what I mean?
But if you
We
were
all,
complacent, you wouldn't push yourself to the other things, though. You would have gotten it where you are if you were complacent.
right.
That's part of the drive.
We all have those moments. So we all get dark. But at the same time, I have to sit here and I have to remind myself that I've been blessed. I've had a record deal with The Scream, a record deal with Motley, two record deals, actually three record deals with Union.
Wow.
I had one with, if you want to call it that, Brides of Destruction.
Hmm.
I had one with my solo acoustic record, the ones with the Dead Daisies, and now I just signed one to do a solo record. You know what I mean? So I've had like,
Congratulations.
thank you. I've had like 8 or 9 record deals, and I know that there's people in this world that are 100 times more talented than I am, that just due to their life, or whether they were married or they had a kid, they sold their guitar, put it down, and they just went and did a job, that never had a record deal. So that's the thing that keeps me in check. Like when I do start getting dark, I have to remind myself that I have a beautiful wife, I own my home, I have a couple of little toys that a
Yep.
66-year-old guy would have. I have
You have
great
health
kids.
insurance, which is more than
It-
most rock
it-
stars.
yeah,
Like
you
that's
know what I
what
mean?
you need in
It's
life.
like, yeah, so it's like, okay, yeah, I'm not making millions of dollars every year, but life is good, man. I'm healthy. Everybody in my circle is healthy. I have, like I said, I have a beautiful wife, even my dogs. I have 3 great dogs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like life is good. So I'm still moving forward. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to talk to people about what I'm doing. And I also appreciate the fact that another record label has like maybe blown smoke up my ass and said, you know what, dude, we've always believed in you. You just, you know, we believe in your talent. We
Well,
believe
it's
in
your
your
resume. Your
songwriting.
resume doesn't, at this point, you have such a, I mean, the days of MySpace, you were out there traveling with your guitar, and you had a short haircut, and you were doing the guitar centers and the thises and the that's, and you were
Yeah.
singing, and there was no, I mean, and that's what people know. I mean, that's the good part of the internet because there's like lots of stuff out there, you know, of that, just singing and playing, and that's what you want to do. You're a musician, I think. Which really weird. So before the PR people get upset, we should talk about the other album for a minute. Let's talk about this. So the Dead Daisies actually
Yes,
have an
yes,
album
yes.
come out, and,
Let's
I've
do
heard
that.
it. Let's do this for a
Enough of
minute.
John Corabi. That guy's a
Oh,
loser.
we'll go back to him again because I want to talk about this whole thing. But I do want to talk about this Dead Daisies because it's interesting because you've done so many, almost like an auxiliary singer. They're like, oh, there's two guys in Hollywood that can really do the job. That can't be Corabi's going to be Jizzy. Those are the two guys that are going to go in there and sing and knock it out. They're well known. There's a point where you guys were the men. You know, there's like certain actors in the movies of the 80s and 90s, which is a total a props for you guys. But that being said, like you've done a bunch of cover songs throughout your career. You've got the voice for it. This album feels like these are songs that's like, oh yeah, it makes sense. These songs should have been done. Because the people don't know the Dead Daisies album, it's a very bluesy covers heavy album,
Yes,
obviously,
yes.
and it's brilliant.
Well,
You know,
thank you. You know, but the thing of it is, even the Daisies. I mean, from record one that I did with them, they said, hey, you know, yeah, we're gonna write uh, new music, but we always try to do a tip of the hat to the bands that we grew up listening to.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, cool. So we did on that very first record that I did with them, we did Midnight Moses, and
who
we
who
did
who did the enunciation on that? Like that's
what?
really good. And a cover, you see that on Midnight, like when you really pronounce it more than normal for Midnight Moses.
Well, if you listen to the original Alex Harvey, uh,
Oh yeah, I thought yeah, I'm well aware of that. If people want to go
yeah,
check it out,
I
actually, I
mean, he
actually
was he was kind of I believe like he started out in theater in like uh
think you're right.
England, UK. You know, so his pronunciation on that record is pretty crazy.
Right.
You know, I didn't. He's got such a distinct way of singing and approaching that tune. So I just said, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it my way. I'm gonna
I was just
muscle.
figuring, I heard it, it stands out, and I was like, there must be a discussion in the studio about how are we going to sing that line? Like, are we going to go with it, or just kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just kind of went for it. But it's funny, like uh, when I first started listening. Well, when I first really discovered and realized, you know, it, Alex Harvey. I
Hmm.
didn't. I somebody gave me a book. I was in Australia, and somebody gave me this little pamphlet, and it was a whole thing about Bon Scott. And it was weird. Like when I first heard a couple of the Alex Harvey songs, I was like, God, he fucking sounds like Bon Scott. But no, Bon Scott was like loved that guy. Like he was a huge fan of Alex Harvey, and you know, but his pronunciation and his thing, it was so genius. And you know, I had the very good fortune of meeting and becoming friends with Chris Glenn, the original bass player from Alex
Yeah.
Harvey. And then Richard Fortis and I sent Zal, the guitar player,
Yeah.
we sent him a copy of the video. And
Do you like it? He's an interesting guy. He was
he's
almost on the show.
he's
He's
a
an interesting
very
guy.
he's a very quiet, reserved,
Yes, he is.
super introvert. And he saw the video and he sent Richard and I a message, said, thank you, lads. Very cheeky. Well done. And that was it.
That's all
And
you
I
can
was like,
expect from him. Actually,
okay,
that's
yeah,
quite a seal of approval from him.
all good. But you know, but anyway, I'm rambling. So right from the beginning, the Dead Daisies have always been, let's do a tip of the hat to
Mhm.
our heroes. You know, so we did, like I said, Alex Harvey. We did like a version of the Cactus version of Evil. We did, you know,
I like
then
that. I like that. That was good.
Make Some Noise. We did Fortunate Son. We did Join
Mhm.
Together by The Who. Then on Burn It Down, we did Bitch by the Rolling Stones. We did Revolution. In the past, when they had the singer John Stevens, they did Helter Skelter. Um, so we've always tried to do a tip the hat. Long story, even longer. This time we were doing Light 'em Up. We came to Nashville and we started recording at Marty's studio. Not recording, but like mapping out ideas
Mhm.
for what would be Light 'em Up. And then we were talking to our manager and we were discussing that documentary on Netflix. Had it for the longest time. It was The Sounds of Muscle Shoals or
Oh
whatever.
yeah.
It was a documentary on the Muscle Shoals sound. And we had all seen it. We started discussing it. We were like, man, it'd be really cool to do an album down there sometime. So we just said, as a bucket list thing for everybody, including Marty, we just said, you know what, let's book 10 days down there and just see what comes out of it. So we packed up, we went down to Muscle Shoals, again, continuing to write, map shit out. And then we were just so overwhelmed by the history and the people that had gone through those doors.
Mhm.
And we started seeing all these photos of Aretha Franklin and Wilson Pickett and you know, guys like Otis Redding and the Allman Brothers. I mean, Dwayne Allman
Yeah.
was discovered at this place, Fame Studios. You
What a
know,
guitar player.
yeah.
Jesus.
So we were just so overwhelmed. Now the other thing is, every day around 4 or 5 o'clock, the studio is a functioning studio, but it's also a museum. So they
Mhm.
set up studio tours. So people, anybody could go down there, they buy a ticket and they come back at 5 o'clock and they do a fucking tour through the whole studio. So we would take a dinner break and instead of like going, okay, fuck it, let's knock it on the head, we would go back, we would have some whiskey, we'd have some wine, edibles, if you're Marty Fredrickson, whatever. And we would literally just go back and we just said, you know, hey, what do you know? Oh, I know, you know, let's do a Skinner's version of Crossroads. And, you know, so we just started fucking around with it and we started jamming these old blues standards. And Marty, the management, everybody was sitting there like, hey guys, this fucking sounds pretty cool. So we sat down, we had a little chit chat about it, and we go, okay,
Yeah.
well, you know what? Fuck it, we can do this. We've got most of Light 'em Up already written. Let's fucking work on that during the day. We'll take a dinner break, and then we'll come in and let's knock out like a fucking blues record while we're here for 8 or 9 days, 10 days.
Yeah.
And which is what we did. We did double duties. So we worked on Light 'em Up during the day. We worked on the blues record at night, and we just fucking put both of them down, and then everybody split and went home. We mixed, mastered, and done deal. It was kind of a happy accident, but it worked. You know what I mean?
That's a lot to realize you did during that time period. It's a short period of time because some of the songs, I mean, it feels like one of the C9 tracks, "The Thrill Is Gone," is such a track on there that I was not expecting. I mean, I wasn't really thinking about, but when it came down to it, it's just so good. It's probably one of my favorite tracks that you guys do. Fuck,
That's
it's a
cool.
little bit
Thank you.
different. It's a little bit different, and it's almost a new flavor or spice to your
Well, and
palate.
that,
You do some
but
covers. That's
that was
a
the
little
thing.
bit
Like
different for you.
a lot of these, I don't know if anybody's ever done. I've never seen another version of Thrill Is Gone, but um,
I don't know if I
you
have
know,
either, to be honest with you. That's what I'm saying. Just like,
well, and to be honest with you, like not to sound weird because we're not even in the same league, but you know, our thing was, you know, uh, we didn't want to do like an exact copy of what somebody else had done already. Like when you listen to Cream's version of Crossroads, it's fucking brilliant. And then you listen to Skinner's version of it, and it's just as brilliant. So
Right.
it's like, okay, what can we do to take this left? You know what I mean? Like not
You gotta
like
honor the
let's
soul of it somehow without.
yeah, still honor the integrity of the song, but make it our own. And one of the things we used as an example, to be quite honest with you, was it almost became a joke because each song that we tackled, Marty would go, "We can't do it like the original, dude. We gotta make it our own." So we would laugh and we would go, obviously there was some alcohol involved, but we would sit there and
Right.
go, what would Led Zeppelin do? And the song that we used as an example was Zeppelin's version of When the Levee Breaks. And if you go back
Yeah.
and if you look at the history of that song, I guess apparently in 1927, there was a huge flood. The Mississippi River overflowed so bad, farms were wiped out, people lost their lives, businesses, like it was catastrophic. And then 2 years later, there was two writers. I can't remember the other writer, but this woman, Memphis Minnie, and another writer wrote "When the Levee Breaks," and somehow Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, being the blues guys that they were, they dug way deep, found this song, pulled it back out, and they kept the melody and the lyrics, but the music is so fucking different from the original that they made it their own. And it's just like this epic closing track on
Yeah.
Zeppelin 4. So that's what we tried to do. uh I think there was some that we nailed it. Some I think we could have we had more time, we could have maybe expanded on them a little more and made them our own. But it was fun, dude, and it was really kind of eye-opening and enlightening, and it really made me kind of really go back and really start researching a lot of these old blues guys.
Oh, really?
And then you realize, like, the blues is, to me, and I could be wrong, but the blues is like this American made art form that nobody gave a shit about until it made its way over to England in the like 50s, 60s, and 70s. And bands like Zeppelin, the Stones, the Beatles, Foghat, Free, like all these bands, Cream, they picked up on this shit. They embraced it, and they started this whole movement that came back over to America, and it made guys my age go,
Oh, yeah.
fuck, Robert
I think
Johnson's.
I think if you should, if it's, there you also throw in the Zeppelin thing. I think the Roy Harper, it also influence of the blues
Yeah, absolutely.
you can't take them, out of the mix of somehow he's the mixture there carrying it over to the Zeppelin guys because that's a huge nod there.
Yeah,
You
you know
know.
what I mean? So what we tried to do, and again, like not I don't want to be too much of a rambler here, but like even uh, when we were doing Crossroads, I mean, the riff is there. You can hear it. I'm singing the melody, I'm singing the lyrics. But then the one thing that kind of with Marty, we took a liberty and we added a part to that song. It's almost like a chorus, a bridge,
Hmm.
and you
And
know,
I know you talk about people when you hear it, you'll know it.
yeah. But it's like,
It works.
lyrically, one you know the myth about Robert Johnson. You know what I mean? He
Mhm.
was this mediocre guitar player, went to the crossroads, sold his soul, came back, and he was like this legendary guitar player, songwriter, singer,
Mhm.
and just you know. But the song, it talks about going to the crossroads, the first verse, the second verse, and then the third verse is like, so we wanted to write a bridge that kind of tied everything together so you understood the myth about Robert Johnson, you know. So our thing says, I remember the day where I lost my way. I was down in a hole, so I sold my soul at the crossroads. And now it's like, to me, our version kind of explains the whole myth of Robert Johnson. You know what I mean?
Well, it honors it in a good way. The whole album does. I mean, I don't think there's a weak song. I know you probably you'll hear things in it you may not like. I dig it, and I also like the fact like Black Betty. You kind of actually reinterpret that one a little bit right off the top. That one's
Yes.
got a little different groove. That one's been done a lot. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, it's just gonna be good. It's gonna be heavy. It just, you know. But then when I heard, I was like, oh, I like this because it's a little bit different because I've heard it about a billion times now already.
Yeah.
So
And
you
it's
guys make
funny,
it different.
like, we got Marty to thank for that one because, you know, normally you can go like, you can go and like pick a song like Crossroads or uh, whatever. For here's another example. One of the songs that I had suggested was "In My Time of Dying" that Zeppelin did, which the original version is called "Jesus Make My Dying Bed." I don't even remember who originally recorded it, way back in the 20s, 30s, whatever it was. Zeppelin did it, but when you look that song up, I didn't even realize it, but like in 1964 or 5, Dylan did a version of it.
Oh, really? I didn't.
And it's crazy because as much as I love the Zeppelin one,
Mhm.
and then I went back and I heard the original, Jesus Make My Dying Bed. I thought the one that I liked the most was Dylan's version from like the 60s. And it's just an acoustic guitar and his voice, and it's fucking brilliant. But the thing with Black Betty was when you type in Black Betty, Ram Jam.
Mhm.
But then when you try to dig deeper, you the Lead Belly version is there, but all of the other versions beyond Ram Jam, there's no music. It's just
Right.
literally a bunch of dudes out in the field singing this song, which it's like, it's even a question mark. Who wrote it? Where did it come from? Like, if you even the term Black Betty, it's like, what does Black Betty mean? And it's like, oh, that's the boss's whip. Then there's the cart that they used to be transported back and forth. Then it's like, used to drink.
Yeah.
So there's all these different. It's a giant question mark. But we sat there and we're like, "Fuck!" I was kind of panicked. I said to Marty, "I go, dude, like, I, I'm kind of lost, man, because the only thing I have in my head is that fucking Ram Jam version, and I don't want to do that. It's been done." And Marty goes, "I agree." So we're
Right.
sitting there, and I don't know how he thought of it, but he went back to the hotel room one night.
Oh, you froze for a second.
Are you there?
There you go. Yeah, I'm
You
here.
good?
Froze for 1 second. Yeah.
Yeah. So he went back to the hotel and he came back the next day and he goes, "You know how we're going to do this?" And I go, "What?" He goes, "Okay, it's not going to sound like it, but we're going to use the vibe." He goes, "Think Black Betty, but think of a stomp like Trampled Underfoot by Led Zeppelin." And I was like, so I went out to my car
Yeah.
and I,
Are we now getting frozen all of a sudden after all this?
are you
Oh, there
there?
you go. Yeah, there. It's crazy. A couple bumps in already. Okay.
Um, I just started singing Black Betty over the musical parts of Trampled Underfoot, and I go, fuck, he's right. It works. So we came in, mapped it out, and
Yeah.
fucking recorded it. And it just, my wife will
Are you kidding me?
It's
She
crazy.
loves it. Yeah,
She loves it. It's her
it's good.
favorite
It's
on the
different.
record.
Well, I mean, and it really is, it has stood out a lot. Let's say a side note, if you already seen it, have you seen the new movie? It's a Sinner, talking
No, not
about
yet.
blues movie, and then they do a scene in the bar where they have the blues guitar, and they start mixing other types of music in it. It sounds fantastic. It's it's brilliant. Get a chance to check it out. It's so good. It's just real good use of mixing old music and new music. Um,
And that's the thing, Michael Devin, because we filmed a lot of this stuff as we were going. And Michael Devin said, and I think it was, I don't know, he quotes somebody in the video, whether it's Muddy Waters or BB King, but he said, the blues, the blues had something like the blues had a baby, or the blues had some babies, and it was called country music and rock and roll. And when you really think about it,
oh yeah.
like I think the blues have influenced, except for classical music, the blues have influenced every musical art form there is. Country music, rock, rap, all of it. So
Well, you have the two of them. Well, in classicals, the other beautiful piece of the power, just the other missing piece of the power of rock is the classical, which is one of the
yeah,
heaviest things ever out there.
yeah. So Queen took that category and worked it, but as far as the blues go, I think the blues is the grandfather to everything
Yeah,
that we listen to. You know what I mean? So
I agree. This album. So I want to tell people. So the album comes out, I think, at the end of the month. I don't know actually the date.
the
I say
30th. Yeah,
oh
the
30th.
30th of May. Yeah.
Okay, I know it's the end of May, but the 30th is pretty much the end of May. Um,
It is available though, I think now for pre-order. And yeah, it's out right now for pre-order. It's but I think we did a video for Crossroads. We have
yeah.
a new video out now for Boom Boom.
Is it weird to walk and talk like and do a video still at this point in your life? Is it kind of odd? Like
Yeah, it
I
was
would feel weird because you're like, I'm just talking and there's no one around me and it just doesn't feel rock and roll.
well, and it was weird. I had no idea what our video guy David Pear.
I mean, it looks good. No knock to anybody. I'm saying, but being in the moment with a camera on you has got to be kind of
well,
weird.
yeah, well, first of all, I'm walking through Lyon, France. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
beautiful.
yeah, I'm walking through Lyon, France at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and there's people going the opposite. They're like, "Why is this fucking crew? Who is this guy walking down the street? You know, singing along to this fucking track?" I had, it like wireless
Right.
things, and I'm walking down the street and I'm just singing and these people are like, you can see them in the video. They're like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, why are they filming him? You know? But it was funny. I was sitting there scratching my head, going, I don't know what you guys are like. How this like David Pear,
Yeah.
our video guy. I don't know what you're seeing here, but okay, let's do it. Let's knock it out. So we did a couple takes of it, 2 days in a row, and and then he made it work. And I was sitting there
Oh yeah.
watching the video. I go, I'm sitting there looking at myself, and then I noticed that they have the lyrics on the trees, and and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Okay, whatever.
Well, and that's what's kind of cool about it, but like people don't realize because people just grow up watching videos and oh, you're talking to rock stars and music. Like I'm like, you don't understand. Like when you're actually, it's so not magical when you're shooting something or you're doing something or you're in the studio or like whatever. So it's for the artist to still have to be like they're still just walking on the street with people singing out loud, and there's no energy of a crowd. There's no performance. It's still a fish out of water situation,
Well,
And I don't
and
think
you
people
know
don't
what's
see it like that. They
funny?
think, oh, it's a video. I'm like, there's more to that to get there.
It's funny because David Pear he's very European. I believe, to be honest with you, I think he was born in the Ukraine. He lived in the Czech Republic, and now he lives in London. He's awesome kid. I give him shit all the time, but he would like I didn't really realize what he was doing. He didn't say much. He goes, "I got this. I got it. I got it. I got it." And then when I saw the video,
Yeah.
Okay, somebody keeps trying to call me while I'm doing
Uh,
a Zoom from Germany. Um, so he's doing a video, and so once I saw the video, I texted him. I go, "Hey, dude, great job on the video." He goes, "All I was trying to do was that fucking verve. Remember that
yeah. Oh, the symphony then?
when
Right?
he's just
Yeah.
walking down the
Yeah.
street,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he goes, that's it. That nothing. Just and I go, okay, I get that.
It
Awesome.
works.
Yeah, it
But it
works.
works.
Yeah, it
You know,
works.
it's funny. But it made me think about that. I'm like, man, I can just think the hardest thing still. Like, at some point in your life, you get used to playing for crowds of like a movie set where you just don't know what's going on. It's quiet and people are
Yeah.
like talking and dancing and there's no music in the background. You're like, it's such a weird world. But I digress on that one, my little sidestep
All
on that one.
good.
John, I want to thank you for coming on. This has been fantastic. I'm glad you can come back on again. Always a pleasure to talk to you and chat. And I'm excited about this. I've heard the album, the new one, and people check it out, get it, support it, of course. But then
Yeah.
the new
It's
album
called
from
it's
you,
called Looking for Trouble
Rich
is
Rumble.
the blues record, and then Light 'em Up is the other record we did. It's crazy, dude. That's one of the things I love about this band. When once we get in the studio, it's like gloves off, sleeves rolled up, and we just hit it hard. Every record we've ever done, as long as I've been in the band, uh, we've done every record in less than a month. And this time we did two records, somehow managed to map them out, record them, and mix, master everything in 29 days.
That's insane. It says a lot to the group of you guys because you guys look all have your own similar journeys, different bands, but the level of skill and it says a lot, of course, to Marty, and the team there too. You
Yeah,
know,
I love, actually, I'm working with Marty on my solo shit. You know what I mean?
oh, that's good to hear.
Marty, like to me, I met Marty actually when I was in the Scream, and
Wow.
I think he was in a band called Outlaw Blood that opened for the Scream, and we've always kind of remained friends, not constantly in the same circles, but we would see each
Right.
other, and I kept saying to him, come on, dude, we got to work together. And we finally got the opportunity with the Dead Daisies.
Yeah.
And now Marty lives here in Nashville. Like we're 10 minutes from each other.
Everybody lives
So
in Nashville now. It feels.
I love writing with him. I love the way he records me. He's like my brother. You know what I mean? I just
Mhm.
love hanging out with him. Even like Sunday fun days, my wife and I'll get one of my bikes out. He'll get his bike out. It's like, and we
Yeah.
go and we'll go sit and have brunch and, watch a band play, like a bunch of covers. And we just
Yeah.
fucking hang out. So I love the guy. I love working with him. And I'm just really excited about the future. You know what I mean?
Is the album, the new album? I guess a couple questions, but that before we end it. Just, I'm really excited about this. Actually, I wasn't expecting this. Gonna be a mixture. Are you gonna be able to do like you can do heavy? You can do like your ballad
No,
stuff? Like, because I mean, what are you gonna do?
I think honestly, like I wanna do something different. Um, I can do my outlet for like heavier stuff. I can do with
Hmm.
the Daisies. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, but I want to experiment now. Like I'll tell you, I got to be honest with you. Lately, I've been on a kick of uh, like Credence, John Fogerty. I thought was that Credence Clearwater revival stuff was fucking
Yep.
brilliant. Another guy that I saw a bazillion times when I was younger, had no idea who he was until he became like a household name, uh, who I still to this day love, is Bob Seger. Um,
Yeah.
so Bob Seger had some rock shit, but he was just a great storyteller, great songwriter. So I don't know, man. I'm really been listening to a lot of that stuff. but I'm not worrying
What kind
about
of
it.
70s rock is it that feels like you're like Silver Bullet Band? What are you guys doing? I gotta.
Yeah, it's like I just want to write. I told my manager initially, I was like, I want to do like a Bob Seger type record. My manager's like, great. If anybody I know can do it, it's you. But then the more I thought about it, I go, I'm not going to do like, I just want to write. Let me see what I come up with. And then, Marty and I've got a couple of other buddies that I started some songs with here in Nashville. Um, you know, I'm just going to write 10, 15, 20 songs, and then I'll pick the best, 8 or 10, whatever, and put them on a record. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just going to write. But I do want to write something that's just organic and uh, very, like, I miss the 70s. I miss that whole eclectic, all over the place, no boxes, you know, type of shit that we grew up listening to. So I just want to go for it. The only thing I can tell you guys, it's going to be eclectic. You know what I mean?
I love when you do harmonies, but I'm a big fan of seeing Crosby, Stills and Nash, and that that group of people from back then, and seen them a bunch of times back in the day. So to me, I love when I hear good vocal harmonies. To me, it's almost
Yeah.
priceless. It makes a song, and then everything else you can put around it. The lyrics, sometimes my favorite songs get the worst lyrics. Like I would, but the
Well,
melodies, what they
oddly,
use those words for, the tone of those words is the best.
it's
You know?
funny. It's funny that you said Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, because one of the songs that I recorded, and I've been sitting on it. Uh, I did a version here at my house. I played everything. I'm going to give it to Marty and see what he can make out of it. But I re-recorded Our House.
Oh, it was a good one.
Yeah, and again, my friend Daniel is a vocal genius. Um, and I recorded it at my house. I gave the files to Daniel. Him and Matt and John went in and did all these killer vocals, and I changed the key to suit my voice a little. It's a little higher, so I could push a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna give it to Marty and see. Maybe there's something there. Maybe I'll.
Oh my God, I would love to hear that. I mean, to me, I saw that when David Crosby had just got out of jail, and he goes up. I used to play this every night in jail, upset the cops, and he play. Then he goes, I almost cut my try to cut my hair. They go into that song, and but Our House was like the standout song of the night for everybody. Even
Yeah,
back, I was like 16
I
years old.
love
I
that
mean,
tune. But
it's the
see,
best.
again, there's just some songs like that I'm just so jealous of. Our House is one of them. Another one that I've been listening to, like, literally, I go to this bar around the corner with my wife, and they laugh because I'll play almost the same songs. I'll put like $30 in the jukebox and just play like 4 hours or 5 hours of shit. But one of the songs that I listen to repeatedly is Steely Dan, Dirty Work.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, wow.
yeah, like, love Three Dog Night. Mama told me not to come. So my roots are back in that type of shit. You know what I mean? And I just want to bring some of that stuff back, m- make it more prevalent in my repertoire. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I don't know. Like I said, I love Credence. Uh, but just like the songwriters, you know what I
It
mean?
is,
Those,
and but the '70s was raw though. The recording, if you listen back a lot of the songs, though, there's a certain very raw nakedness. You
yes,
almost felt like you were standing right next to them,
yep,
and that is to me the '70s sound. It's you're like 3 feet from me, but you're really just in my earbuds or whatever I had on my head, cans, whatever you had on in a time period in your ears. But really, it's so real. You can just feel it, and that's kind of gotten lost.
yeah. And what was the other one? It was Dirty Work. My wife laughs. She goes, 'cause she doesn't even need to know. Like, we could go in the
I've
bar.
I've always done vinyl too, just so I'm not laughing at you because I have Steely Dan, I got Crunch Possession. These are all the vinyl I have at home I listen to. So like to me, I'm like, I hear you.
Yeah, and what's the other one? Is it 10cc? The Things We Do for Love?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they do. Is it Tennessee is uh, not in love. So in love or in love. It's oh,
I'm Not in Love.
I'm not in love. Yeah, I'm not in love. Yep.
Yeah, but
Not in love.
the one that gets me is The Things We Do for Love. I hear
Mhm.
that song and I will literally, it's just fucking brilliant. I'm envious that I didn't write it. And so all these songs, my wife will laugh. We'll be sitting at the bar. There's 50 people in there and she knows exactly who played those songs. She looks at me, she goes, seriously, again? And I go, like, I fucking love the song. I'm going to play it. First two, it's like jukebox. I play Honky Tonk Woman by the Stones. To me, that is one of the greatest rock and roll songs ever written.
Yep.
And I follow it up with Three Dog Night, Mama Told Me Not to Come. Can't beat that shit, dude. Can't beat it.
You should be doing weddings and bar mitzvahs now. This is it. This is it. Your DJ thing. So
No,
if
no,
this
no,
doesn't
no,
work
no,
out,
no.
you got it
Then
all set. Your playlist.
no. That, I do not want to be Adam Sandler in The Wedding Singer. No.
Oh my god, that would be hilarious though. That could be a video. You could do a parody of yourself being the DJ guy in a video for your next video. That's what you do.
Yeah.
That's a concept there for Hollywood.
I could be me yelling at
Right.
me
Right.
saying, I want to hear the new Dr. Dre. No,
Yeah.
I'm playing Mama Told Me Not to Come. Fuck off.
And that's how you're going to do it. That's awesome. All right. John, thank you for taking the time today. I
Awesome, buddy.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We'll chat again down the road. Maybe we can chat when your album's ready.
I hope
I'd be
so.
honored. I'd love to do
All
that.
right.
And take it, man. You take care.
All
Peace
right,
out.
buddy. You too. See ya.
Bye-bye. Take care.